Oh man, I've never been so ticked off at The Walking Dead before. Like, this is the first time they actually made me, like, literally really mad on how they handled this entire episode. Like, this second half of the season, because I already reviewed the first half, separately, episode by episode, but the second half was incredible. But they just ruined it with this cliffhanger. Ah! But I'm only going to touch on some small spoilers, so nothing too big of a deal. If you've been following the series through social media, you should be, well known on what happens from like episode to episode, but nothing too big like the finale that I will discuss later on. So a quick summary of my opinions on the second half of season 6 is that it was well done, well paced, and all of the episodes were really good and helped the story keep on going. They dealt with the walkers, they met Jesus, they were introduced to the Hilltop Colony, they were introduced to the Saviors, and then they dealt with the Saviors to an extent. But not only that, our characters also dealt with each other and relationships formed, like Rick and Michonne got together. Freaking Sasha and Abraham got together and Abraham dumped Rosita. Why? I have no idea, but he did. Eugene and Gabriel are actually manning up and becoming badasses. Eugene not so much, but he's still being useful and he knows how to survive. Like, so much stuff has happened in the second half of season 6 and it has been incredible. And the finale, it was forming up to I would say a pretty good episode until they ended it. Now we're gonna be getting into some big spoilers, so if you've not seen the finale, you can click off, you can click to the end. But my main thoughts of season 6 as a whole, both including the first half and the second half, are that it was great. Granted, the first half, the middle episodes were a bit slow, but season 6 as a whole, it was a pretty good season, I would say. So the season 6 finale showed us a Rick that we have not seen at all of season 6 and a little bit of season 5, like at all. And that is a Rick that is scared and panicking. At the beginning of the finale, we saw Rick, be like a total badass. When Spencer asked, "What if the Saviors come? Do you think we can still make it a deal?" And he's like, "Tell them to wait for me. I'll make a deal with them." And then when we get to the end of the finale, where we see, Rick and his group, all on their knees, lined up, surrounded by Negan's men and Negan himself, we see him, he's sweating, you can just see the looks in his eyes, and props to Andrew Lincoln on the acting. Like, you just see how scared he is. And I enjoyed seeing Rick throughout the entire episode, going from the total badass, the one that, everyone's feared of, to like basically Rick from season 1, who's afraid for not only his life but the lives of the people around him that he cares about. And there's also Carol and Morgan stuff, which honestly is just really a subplot to introduce the Kingdom, in season 7, which I'm assuming we're going to be introduced to them by season 7, and that's just really it. It's not like Carol and Morgan are going to show up and mow everyone down and then Rick and everyone saved. That's definitely not gonna happen. And thing is, that subplot didn't even bother me. Like, I enjoyed seeing Carol and Morgan talk things and seeing how their scenes played out, because the thing about Carol and Morgan are that they are total opposites of one another. But all of that tension and everything that was built up throughout the finale, it all kind of it just fizzled down because of that gosh darn cliffhanger. But to all of you non-comic book readers, we finally get to see Negan for the very first time. And man, oh man, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I think he's gonna kill it as Negan. From what we saw in this episode, from his monologue, if you call it that, I think it's a monologue, it was absolutely fantastic. But I definitely want to see how he's going to play out in season 7, and if we're going to hear the F-bombs a bunch of time, or if we're not. Because the big thing about Negan's character, at least in the comics, is that he's charismatic, but he has one hell of a mouth that is like non-stop, like dropping F-bombs and swear words left and right. And if they don't do that, it's not going to be as great, I feel like. Anyway, we do get to see Negan kill somebody, but we don't know who it is at all. Like, I read the spoilers for this over on the Walking Dead subreddit like a few days ago, hoping that, it's not true. It is true, and I am so mad. Like, I just wanted to see who died. Like, I read this back in season 2, this whole scene, issue 100, and it was so iconic because it's so scarring and so gruesome, and it's a character that you loved. But now we don't know who it is until, 6 months from now in October. Like, come on, AMC, you just couldn't show us like a dead body and then cut to black. Like, you literally could have just panned out from a dead body to everyone's faces, crying, knocked over or whatever, just being sad and mourning, and then cut to black, and then you start it back up at the start of season 7, and you reintroduce that scene, and Negan, just like, see, you'll get over it, and be like, walk away, and all the saviors just leave, and then dang, there you go. Premiere of season 7, or at least like the first part. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the season 6 finale and season 6 as a whole. I also forgot to mention one thing, and that is Carol's character development that she has foreseen in this entire season, which I thought was fantastic. But again, my thoughts on season 6 as a whole was I thought it was a great season. I love how everything, especially in the second half of the season, where everything just keeps on going and going. It's like non-stop. Like, we're not stopping to do filler episodes or episodes where it's a bunch of characters talking for no reason and nothing is really executed. But again, the season as a whole was fantastic, and I honestly think that this season had a lot of the greatest episodes of The Walking Dead in it, and I'm excited to see what happens in season 7. To not as much as we're going to be, if we were shown who died at the end of Lucille, but I'm still gonna watch it because it's a family thing now. Like, everyone in my family watches it, so it's like I can't stop watching. But like, oh yeah, this is what happens in the comics, but I didn't watch the episode, so yeah, I'm gonna have to watch the rest. I guess until the point where I guess I'll stop watching where like they catch up with the comics, but that won't be till a while. So yeah, but hey, those were just my thoughts on the season 6 finale and the season 6 as a whole. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Did you hate the cliffhanger? Did you enjoy the cliffhanger? Who do you think died? Who do you think didn't die? My thoughts is I think it's Daryl. My money's on Daryl, and I think it's on Daryl due to the fact that Glenn would be too obvious, and Daryl would kind of do the role that Glenn did in the comics, where Daryl's beloved by everyone, and seeing him go would destroy everyone. It would be like heartbreaking to everyone. Granted, the same thing could be done to Glenn, and Maggie would just be destroyed, but I think it would be better to have Glenn and Maggie at the hilltop and let them live their lives happily ever after, and Daryl's gone, and then Dwight's a piece of shit that eventually will do what he does in the comics, and everything will be okie dokie. Unless Daryl takes Dwight's spot in the comics and that works out somehow. But yeah, my money's on Daryl. But again, let me know who you think got Lucille down in the comments below. And with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Thank you for watching. I truly do appreciate it. I will see you guys on next time. Whenever that is, I have no idea. But until then, bye-bye.